This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome, everybody, to the Week in Review. I've got a co-host that you're now familiar with here from the UK, very much graciously enough being here, and it's super late where she is, and I really appreciate it every single time that she's here because I know you guys love her. We do too, and I think that it's going to be a fun show as we are 1 week or less than 1 week now from the Elimination Chamber event in Perth, Australia. The Rock has gone officially heel. We have some questions on the World Heavyweight Championship side of things. The women have their chamber members set and lots to talk about. But Amanda, how are you today?
Hey, Matt. Thank you for having me back. Yeah, I'm doing really well, thanks. Yeah, interesting week.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, we're going to have to lead with The Rock, who after, I don't know how many years it's been. Maybe it's been since 2003 that we've seen The Rock as a heel. And I mean, as part of the bloodline, I think he did a really nice job. There were some storyline gaps there with what he delivered, specifically saying that Cody just decided to face Roman when I think either he forgot or knew, but decided to annoy the fans. That Cody didn't just decide it, he earned it by winning the Royal Rumble. But outside of that, I really, really enjoyed this version of The Rock, you know, hammering individual fans and just doing what I think is honestly a more interesting version of The Rock, even if it's a version that many of us that are supporters of The Rock didn't want, and now we have it. And I don't know, I find it a little pretty entertaining. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was wondering how it was going to play out because I stayed up real late to watch the press conference that was in Las Vegas, whenever it was, a week or so ago, because I was interested in how the story was going to go, and then even more intrigued. And then when Rock came out on Friday night and just went full heel and was absolutely laying into that crowd and really giving it beans, I just thought, yeah, actually, this is kind of a weird turn. I wasn't expecting it to go like this, but actually this is pretty cool. I did really enjoy it. It was a lot of fun.
It was. I mean, it's just fun. And here's the thing. What's going to be ironic, or maybe not so much, the fans that all wanted Cody and were booing The Rock are probably the ones now cheering The Rock because he's so entertaining as a heel. And I think this version of The Rock is more entertaining than the one we've seen off and on over the last 15 years. The one that comes in and has the $1,500 shirts on and the sunglasses and the Gucci shoes and all these things that are just, you know, telling the crowd I'm bigger and better than you, telling us that our life now has meaning now that The Rock is here. It was all just stuff that it's almost fun to be insulted by The Rock. It doesn't make me angry. It's kind of a term of endearment, rather. And the only thing maybe I'd change is his music. I'd love to go back to the heel 2003, even though we only got it for a little bit, the music that he had when he was Hollywood Rock. So maybe that's the only thing I'd change is his music while he's a heel. But let me ask you this. Do you think, because there's a lot of speculation, do you think that this is The Rock setting up Roman Reigns to be the one to end up costing him the championship at WrestleMania? Because there's been a lot of clues online over the last couple of days, specifically when The Rock said that he's going to prove at WrestleMania something that you've always been, and that's a loser. And when he pointed at Roman. That's the first thing, and also held up almost like an L instead of the 1 when acknowledging Roman Reigns, among a couple other things. But I guess I'll stop there. Do you think this is a setup, or do you think this is, for now, The Rock joining the bloodline indefinitely? I
think I've seen probably similar clips on Twitter, the L sign and who was he talking to, and he was a bit indirect when he said, I'm going to make sure that you come out of WrestleMania as a loser, or whatever the words he said. I don't know, and I don't know maybe if they don't know yet either, because I mean, it was beautifully just balanced. It could go either way. I don't know, if he does if The Rock is the one to, go snide on Roman and cause him to lose the belt, then I don't know, maybe does that devalue Cody's winning effort? Or I've heard some other people speculating that it might actually be the bloodline versus like Cody's Avengers, somebody referred to it as, so a bunch of the goodies. So like Sami Zayn and, Cody or, a couple of others to sort of like, almost like a lumberjack type situation, to sort of battle the bloodline outside. So Cody still manages to get his clean win. I honestly don't know. I feel very confused after this week.
Yeah, I feel confused, but I'm also still invested. It's not that I'm looking at this and going, I just don't care. I do. And that's the most important thing, even if we're confused, is I'm on board. Let's go. I want to see where this takes me instead of just, I don't even care what happens. Just do what you got to do. I won't pay attention. That's a much worse reaction for fans if you're WWE. But I think most fans, whether you love The Rock or hate The Rock or support Cody or hate Cody, I think every side of this argument is invested. And I think that is the most important thing. And if you're going to, ask me, I've had people ask me, I haven't really answered yet officially. I think it probably is a sign that The Rock is going to turn, end up screwing Roman Reigns. But like you said, the fact that Cody will need The Rock is something that I am not a fan of. Now, if that happens to be where The Rock evens the odds, I've said this before, but if The Rock evens the odds and he's just fighting off Solo and Jimmy, then okay, because they're going to be there to clearly screw Cody like last year, specifically Solo. But if it's The Rock who ends up hitting a rock bottom on Roman and then Cody hits his finish and 1, 2, 3, I think there's going to be some Cody. Even if I'm a Cody fan, I'm not happy about that because it would send a message, hey, Cody couldn't have done this without The Rock. And I don't think they want that for such a massive title shift from Roman to Cody. So you're right. Yeah, that is the one thing that I'd look at and go, I could see it coming, but I don't know if it's good for Cody Rhodes' title run.
Yeah, no, and I think I remember saying to you when we first talked, I don't care how Roman loses it as long as he loses it. But now I do care. I'm so invested in this now. I'm like, let's get to it because I want to see. This is obviously the end and then possibly the beginning of something else. But, it's really exciting. Whether it was, a bit of a misfortune, however they've managed to get here, because maybe it was always going to be Rock Roman and then, the outcry. But now I'm in. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I personally think it wasn't in the cards. They didn't mean to do all this shifting. It's too complicated of a story for them to think that this is a good idea because you're relying on the fans pretty heavily. If this was truly drawn up, that they meant to do all of this, you're relying on the fans to create this online movement. And then they'd shift things at the press conference, Rock turning here, like all these things that that have happened. You would have to really be gambling on a lot of variables to fall into place to say, yeah, we meant to do this. I don't think they did. I really believe that a lot of what Rock said had a lot of truth in it, especially when he told the fans on SmackDown, hey, you guys had the biggest WrestleMania main event in your hands and you let it go. I mean, I believe he believes that. And so that makes it a lot more fun and a lot more real, that I think a lot of fans are thinking that, especially the Rock supporters, hey, you guys had one of the biggest main events ever, and the Cody movement totally screwed this whole thing up. So either way, I still believe we're going to get to Rock and Roman one-on-one, and it probably is at WrestleMania 41. But if Rock's in it for the long game, I don't know about you, but I'm still down for a year from now talking about Rock versus Roman.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm so in. This is, this takes me back to, the good old days of The Rock, and all those marvelous feuds he had with countless people. It's just brilliant. I'm absolutely loving it. It's brilliant. Yeah. No, I'd wait a year.
Yeah, and this time though, no title. Get the title out of the picture. That's the whole problem around this thing. Yeah. It would have gone brilliantly if the belt wasn't there.
Yeah, no, totally. Get the title onto Cody at WrestleMania. Get that forgotten about, and let him have his feuds on the side. And then let's have a year of Rock Roman part time. But who cares?
Exactly. Yeah, now they can do it right and get all the fans behind The Rock. I don't think there'll be a problem because all the Cody fans will be happy. Cody's champion. And then you can talk about Rock Roman as a generational match that they're building towards at WrestleMania 41. I hear it's in Vegas, but we'll see. I don't know. The 41 location hasn't been announced yet, but all right. Well, let's move on then. I mean, we could spend so much time on Rock, Cody, Roman, and I've spent hours and hours as many other podcasters have, but I do want to move on and, let's talk about the women's division. I know, this is one of your passions as well as mine. I mean, the women's division is certainly one that I think is deep to say the least. Has stars we haven't even seen really wrestle yet in Jade Cargill and others, NXT call-ups. Tiffany Stratton seems to be really finding a nice foothold here. And she had a nice match, I think, with Zelina Vega in an Elimination Chamber qualifier. So I guess I'll hone in on that and really your overall assessment right now of where the women's division is at and Rhea Ripley and everything else. I'll just toss it to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's looking great. I wish Jade would hurry up and wrestle, do something, because I just see loads of, different social media and her looking fabulous, but, I want to see something else. So that would be cool. But yeah, I mean, the women's division just seems to be getting stronger and stronger. I like Tiffany Stratton. I think her character is quite similar to Chelsea Green, so I think they need to be careful that they don't get that sort of too similar, because I don't think we need two of them that are exactly the same. But I like her, and obviously I like Chelsea Green as well. I thought Becky's promo the other night was weird. I thought it would have been good if her kid was older. But I think, like you said on one of your shows the other day, the kid's 3, so it was a weird thing to have to put her promo round. I'm horrified at the idea that Rhea's saying that she wants to fight in the men's division or men's titles or whatever it is she said. I think it's just that's just a horrible idea and awful, and. I mean, it's just so unbelievable. I mean, I know the whole thing is, as it is, but I don't think they should go down that route because it would just be ridiculous. I don't know about you, but I feel like Bayley is getting a bit hard done by. She doesn't seem to be getting any push for what she's done. I mean, I know she had. The turn happened, and there was an interesting Damage Control promo, and Dakota came out to save her, I think, this week, which was great. But she's not. I don't know. I just don't feel like she's getting a big push, and she deserves it. Yeah.
No, I mean, lot there. I will say no. That's fine. I asked you the question. So I would say. I mean, without the problem with Rhea Ripley, and she's made a lot of comments about this, and I know everyone these days, here's the issue. It bleeds into political things when she says that. It just does. It bleeds into political beliefs on either side of things. And it's a dangerous topic, no matter which side you fall on. It is a dangerous thing to do when all of a sudden you're going to implement women in men's divisions, because then we couldn't just say the men could go in the women's division, the men are going to win the women's championship. Like, it gets ridiculous, and it gets ridiculous quick. And I think the entire structure of WWE, the entire pro wrestling foundation starts to crumble, because then what do titles mean? It needs to be divided by gender. And I know, it's not called the Men's Intercontinental Championship. Okay, well, if I call it that, are you still saying that you can compete? I mean, it gets very averse, and people get averse to this topic, and it gets very contentious, I should say, very quickly, because it very quickly bleeds outside of wrestling into other things going on in the world. So I just think very clearly it's a horrible idea for Rhea Ripley to say that. And I know she believes it because, she's a strong woman, and she is as strong as some of the men. I believe it, but the majority of the men are probably stronger than her because, biology. But I think that when you look at it, I understand. I know what she's saying. I get it, but you can't do it. You just can't do it. So I'll leave it there. As far as Bayley, that's a good point to bring up, because no one seemingly is talking about Bayley right now. We're looking at Bayley, and she's getting nice support from the crowd. It feels though that she's missing a gear in babyface mode. I mean, she just transitioned, so I'm going to give her some time to kind of find her footholding into the babyface character of what that Bayley looks like now. But you're right. It feels like she's kind of being put on the back burner, even though we all know that there's almost no chance she's losing at WrestleMania. I mean, I don't know. Can you draw up any scenario in which Bayley loses at WrestleMania?
Only if she gets screwed by, by the rest of Damage Control. But I mean, no, because Io's, title reign has been mediocre at best. So I don't know why they would want to continue that. So no, I think Bayley wins. I can't see a logical route where she doesn't.
Yeah. Like you said, it's either Damage Control or maybe Dakota Kai turns on her and costs her the belt. Yeah. But honestly, I don't see a scenario that outweighs Bayley winning the belt here. Even if Dakota Kai turns, okay, she's got somebody else to fight, but then Io's still champion. And I'm sorry, WWE has not managed Io's run that well. She has felt very much of like an afterthought. And I don't want to hear the language barrier stuff. That is a factor, but they've navigated around that with Shinsuke Nakamura. They've found a solution, a very obvious one, but it's very effective. And they've now started to do that with Io and Io and Asuka and Kairi Sane. They've done that, and they've found, oh, wait, yeah, we can use subtitles and have them still speak. And it works. It's more effective than them just not saying anything. So I'm all for that, but it's kind of too little too late for me for Io Sky. I mean, the majority of her run, I mean, no one was even talking about her as champion. It was kind of disrespectful in a way. Like, you have your women's champion. She's barely even talked about, barely, is competing, and no one's, it's just, I don't know. I think they've really done a bad job managing the women's championship on Io Sky, and that's not a disrespect to her. It's just been bad creative. And I think Bayley can really take this into the limelight with a fun babyface run after WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I do hope that Io will get another chance because she's good. When they let her go, she's good. She's got good skills. But yeah, no, it's just been it's a bit like one of Bianca's runs where they put it on her and then they just completely forgot about her and just rolled her out twizzling her hair once every couple of weeks, and that was all they did. It feels a little bit like that.
Especially when you don't give her a voice on a consistent basis either. I mean, they even did that to Bianca Belair before. They've done that to Asuka before. I remember Asuka had the championship. I think it might have been during the pandemic era or coming out of it with the whole, virtual crowd and all that. It might have been around that time, but she was champion for like 6 months and we didn't see her. She just disappeared. And I'm like, she wasn't injured. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So they have a history of this though. I mean, hopefully things change under the Triple H regime, but right now they just need to put the belt on to Bayley and let her see what she can do with it. Let her fight with Damage Control over the next few months after WrestleMania. There's more than enough women to have her compete with. But on the Raw side of things, like you said, Becky's promo was weird. The 3-year-old thing reference. If anybody's had a 3-year-old, I don't want to hear that you have difficult, really in-depth conversations with a 3-year-old. I'd love to see what that looks like. So that was just, I know what she's trying to do. She's trying to be relatable and connectable, but it didn't connect for me, especially if anybody that's a parent looks at this and goes, yeah, or anybody doesn't, you don't have to be a parent. If you're an aunt or an uncle, you look at this and go, no, that's not how my 3-year-old's attention span goes. But besides that, I look at this and I say, you know what? If it's Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, are you concerned that the crowd is going to really, I mean, I don't know if concerned, but do you think that the crowd is going to be generally and majoritively behind Rhea Ripley obviously in Perth on Saturday? It's going to be forget it. But when you get to WrestleMania, do you think Becky Lynch has any momentum going in there where they could actually get the crowd behind Becky to see her topple Rhea? Or do you think the fans at this point are like, no, we still want mommy. We still want Rhea Ripley as champion. We're just getting behind her now. There's no chance that the fans are going to boo Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, Becky is running off momentum of a couple of years ago when she first sort of became the man. And really since then, she's, she was awesome. I think she's great. I love her. I think she probably just needs a bit of a time out for a little while. But no, she has no momentum going in at all. So unless they pull something awesome out of the bag in the build, I think the crowd are going to be almost 100% behind Rhea. because she's great. Like, she's awesome.
Yeah. She's got such depth to her character. She's believable. She has finally confidence where before Judgment Day, you could kind of see through her where, she looks the part, but she doesn't feel it. Now she feels it. She's got it. She knows who and what she is, and the crowd can see it. And Becky Lynch is kind of lost. And it's weird to say, given her resume, Becky Lynch she's already a Hall of Famer. Her resume speaks for itself. She is one of the most accomplished women in pro wrestling, period. And I have nothing but respect for her, but her character is very kind of, I don't know if boring is the right word, but predictable. You kind of know what you're going to get. There's not a lot of depth right now. And I've said, I'm not going to pretend to be super smart right now and know what the solution is. I don't know what you do with Becky Lynch. I don't know if turning her heel again is something they're considering, or if there's just a massive change in her babyface character where maybe she cuts her hair again and her music. I don't know. Do you have any ideas of what they could do to get the crowd behind Becky, or do they feel like it's kind of a lost cause going into Mania?
I don't know. I mean, I think we're on a course for Rhea Becky at WrestleMania, and I think that's a done deal. So I think that's going to happen. But you're right. Something quite major needs to happen with her. It didn't really work making her heel before because no one really wants to boo her, because actually we all quite like her. So I don't know whether they need to do something like, I don't know. Is there somebody that she could become a mouthpiece for, or is there like that sort of sideways move? Because you're right. She's been there, seen it, done every single match type. She's won it all. Future Hall of Famer for sure. Maybe they need to, I don't know, give her something else, maybe.
I don't know. It's not like her career's dead in the water. I mean, there's something they could do. I'm not worried about her. Like, oh my God, she's going to fall off TV and she's going to get fired. No, I mean, that's a 0% chance. It's more just like you can see when a character is stale, and this is just stale. It's like chewing the same piece of gum for a week. It's like, I'm done with this, right? Like, or even less than that, probably like, an hour, you're done with it. It feels like that. And I think you're right. Probably turning her heel is not the best thing if I was to really analyze this, because the last time, like you said, the fans were like, they weren't super into it because she is likable. But I don't know what that solution is for her. Maybe, like you said, taking some time off can't hurt. I'm sure she would love to spend more time with her family, specifically her daughter. But that would mean, what does Seth do? Of course, so there's factors there, but I don't know what the answer is for her. It's just there needs to be something. There's a crossroads right now for Becky Lynch, and she's at it. And I don't know what that solution is. I would think though at WrestleMania she is so beloved. I wouldn't say 100. I'd say I said 60-40 earlier in the week, but I'm like talking myself into like 80-20. We'll see. I mean, maybe they can pull a rabbit out of the hat and make Rhea a dastardly heel, but I don't see it. I think that they're not even going to bother. The fans are ready to embrace Rhea Ripley. They are all the way there every week. You can hear it building. So,
sure.
So what about Naomi and Alba Fire? They had their Elimination Chamber qualifier. I mean, there's just no chance. It was just so funny. Not only did this match, just on paper, you look at it and go, 0 chances Alba Fire winning. I mean, I would have bet everything in my life of value, at least monetarily, not the people, that Naomi would have won this match. I mean, just because the name brand value, but also she just returned. And right before the match, they talked about Black History Month, and they talked about like the shirts that are on sale or whatever that you can support Black History Month. And then they cut to this match. Obviously, it's timed that way. That's fine. But I'm thinking to myself, imagine if they had the woman who obviously she's black. She loses the match right after they told you about celebrating Black History Month. Like, obviously that would have been a massive slap in the face. And then, of course, she just returned. I mean, there's just, to me, this was a slam dunk that Naomi wins. But moreover than that, how are you enjoying her matches? When you see her now, she hasn't had too many since she's been back, but when you see her in the ring, when you see her new entrance music now, which I really enjoyed, how do you feel about the Naomi character now that she's won and she's in the Elimination Chamber?
I mean, no, you're totally right. There was no other outcome for that match. My most thoughts, and I don't know how your TV is over there, but my thing that I thought when I saw it was Naomi came out with her really cool new entrance music, came to the ring, and then they cut for a commercial here. And when we came back from commercial, so 3 or 4 minutes later, she was still dancing. And I thought, my God, I'd need a break. I'd have to say, sorry, guys, I'm gassed. You're going to have to give me a minute because I've just done my cardio. But yeah, so they left her dancing all over the commercial break. Hey, look, I like her. You know, I liked her the first time around. I think she's a good talent. I think she's got really interesting moveset. Not many of the other females have got that particular, you know, set of moves. I don't think she's ever going to pull up any trees, and I certainly don't give her much of a chance at all, any chance really, in the Elimination Chamber. But it's nice she's back. I think, you know, perhaps the way that her and Sasha left, maybe she was more of a sort of bystander in that, really. Perhaps she felt that she sort of had to go at the same time, you know, as Sasha did. Well, we'll never know, will we? But yeah, no, I'm pleased she's back and I like her work.
Agreed. She fits very nicely into the women's division. I think that her music, I like it actually more than her previous music. I think it's a nice, like, kind of, she spells out her name, right? Naomi, and she's out there dancing still, so there's that connection to her previous entrance, but there's some differences. It feels more fresh, and I like that they recognized, hey, we should probably, you know, switch it up a little bit. And it felt like a new energy, so I'm down with that. She looks really good in the ring. Her new finish, I don't know if it's new or not, but it's a submission. It's like a spike DDT with her legs, and then she rolls into a submission. And that's obviously how she won this match. It's called a Slay-O submission, Slay-O mission. I'm reading it now. It's Slay-O mission is apparently the name of the finish after her head scissors spike. So new moves, new entrance, not a whole lot of mic time, which they didn't give her before she left. So I don't know if I should really be surprised. But no. Naomi, she doesn't have a ton of chance in the Elimination Chamber. But what I do expect in the Chamber is for her to make some noise and maybe get an elimination or two. She certainly won't be the first woman out. I think she'll be the final 3, and you know, she'll definitely make some noise in the Chamber and probably come out looking really well.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, well, let's see where else I want to go here. We also got on SmackDown Logan Paul. Now, Logan Paul and The Miz had their qualifying match. Logan Paul, and I never thought 6 months ago I'd be saying this, is a bright spot when he comes on the show, and I mean that in like the best / worst way. I mean, he really has no business being this good this quick. He doesn't, but he is, and we can't deny it anymore. I mean, nobody can sit here and look at me with a straight face and say, he sucks in the ring, he's terrible. He can clean up some stuff, he can sell a little better, but so can everybody else. He's ultra athletic. He's just inherently unlikable as a human being, which it comes through very, very well on television. And he's going against The Miz, who has also done a miraculous switch to a babyface character that I don't think anyone saw coming to be this successful. And I think their match spoke for itself. The Logan Paul did end up winning, as you would imagine, but 13 minutes in, and Logan Paul's the victor. What did you think about The Miz and Logan Paul?
Yeah, the same. I mean, Logan Paul, I had no idea who he was before he came, before he came into WWE, because he's not meant for me. I'm a middle-aged lady, he's not meant for me. But yeah, you're right. Came in from nowhere and is just, wow, what talent. And Miz, I didn't even notice him turning face. 1 week, he was a real pain in the arse, and I hated him. And then the next thing I realised, actually, I quite like you again now. And I didn't even recognise it happening. But no, it was a good match, and it seemed to go on for quite a long time, which is good, because it could have just been quite quick, I think. They could have let, him just squash Logan, just squash The Miz. But he didn't. He gave a good account. And yeah, it was decent. But it will be interesting to see how he fares in the Elimination Chamber, because that is quite a unique match type, isn't it? And it's quite rare, so he won't have had a chance to be in it before. So it will be good to see how he copes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still believe it's going to be LA Knight and Logan Paul WrestleMania, but I could be totally wrong. They'll probably make it some kind of fatal four-way for the U.S. title, and then maybe Crown Knight at WrestleMania. That's been the general consensus over the last several months, and I see the logic because LA Knight, he's he's one of those guys that I look at and I'm like, man, if I was him, I'd be like, I'd be excited but also annoyed because I started to get super hot. I got to the point of facing Roman Reigns for the championship. I was believable in some respects to win and dethrone Roman, and then here comes Punk. Here comes Randy Orton. Here comes The Rock, right? And all of a sudden, people not forget about Knight, but I mean, star power-wise, knock Knight down a couple of pegs. So, I mean, he had it. I don't want to say he had his chance and he's done, but right now, I think you look at LA Knight and you're like, man, just putting yourself in the guy's shoes, I'd be kind of annoyed of like, oh man, I just had things going and here come these guys. But LA Knight had a nice promo backstage with Drew McIntyre, who showed up on the show, and we still don't get any answers as to why these guys are showing up on opposite brands. No one cares anymore. It's just there's a brand split when they need one, and there's not when they're it's not convenient for the story. I've kind of given up screaming and yelling about that. It's just so annoying to me that they don't. Like, you want a brand split, but here comes WrestleMania season. Fans won't care, and fans like me that are sticklers do, but the rest of the fan base doesn't. But anyway, I don't know if you had any comments about LA Knight or Drew McIntyre this week.
Yeah, no, I'm still really liking LA Knight, and I think he's still getting a really good reaction. Well, it sounds like he's getting a really good reaction, and I think if I was him or if I was in his shoes, I would be a bit salty because he has been bumped down the pecking order probably by about 5 or 6 people just in the space of a month or two, from Roman Reigns to, where he is now. But no, I think that's a good shout at WrestleMania, and I hope he gets the belt. That would be nice. I liked his promo with Drew backstage. I like the way Drew's just sticking his nose into absolutely everyone else's business and giving his opinion, even though no one's really asking for it. I think he's doing a great job, but LA Knight held his own for sure. But Drew's just doing some brilliant Healy work, isn't he?
Drew is an absolute shining light. I mean, because it's a unique kind of heel character. Usually when there's a heel turn, it's definitive, and that person's gone to the dark side, and they're suddenly kind of switched on to this, just like vicious attacks, cheating to win, like everything turns instantly, and that's fine. It's a typical heel turn, but with Drew, it's like he kind of eased into it, and there were times where I'm like, maybe it's off because he did some good things this week that somebody with morals would do, and then he's talking about his family and the things he sacrificed, and and taking advantage of situations just to win the match, not cheating, just taking advantage of your opponent being distracted. Like, that's their fault. That I would too. If you're trying to win the match, that's on your opponent. That's not on you. So he has kind of become the hero in his own story, but of course it's starting to descend a little bit darker and a little bit deeper, but slowly. It's been such a fun ride, and having him tell Punk a few weeks ago that I prayed for this. I don't know if you and I talked about that, but that was okay. But okay. So to me, I still think that is one of the best things I've ever heard in wrestling. And then his shirts that he's selling off of it are great. He's one of the top sellers in the company right now with that shirt. It's brilliant. And he just continues, like you said, to stick his nose into people's business, but he thinks that he's the hero in every situation, and he can't see the other side of the coin. It's subtle, but it's so brilliantly done. I can't put my finger on it other than that.
No, he's like like one of your distant relatives that you meet at a family wedding or something, who has a bit too much to drink and wants to impart all their worldly advice on you, and you didn't ever ask for it, and you don't really want to have that conversation, but they're going to tell you all about it, and they've been there and done it.
That's a perfect analogy, because everybody knows exactly who that person is in your family, and you know exactly what uncomfortable that situation is. And all of a sudden, they've got everything to say about everything. Oh my God, yeah. So now that you have implemented that feeling on all of us and subjected us all to that, it's just, yeah. But that's exactly what this is. And I am loving everything that Drew is doing. And do you think that come Saturday that there's an actual chance, a real chance that perhaps he is going to win the chamber and face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania? Do you think he's the favorite?
The women's is a slam dunk, I think. Don't think there's any question there, really. But the men's, I don't know. I was looking at my phone earlier, just trying to, get my head right to talk to you. And I was thinking, do you know what? I'm not sure. The men's Elimination Chamber is beautiful. What a match that's going to be. I guess he must be up there as a favourite. But you wouldn't put your house on it, would you?
No, that's a good way to put it, because when you look at this lineup, it's a loaded lineup right now. Kevin Owens, LA Knight, McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, and Logan Paul. So, yeah, that is definitely not a slam dunk for Drew. Yeah, I think he's a favorite, but I don't know if he is the favorite.
Yeah, no, I think you could confidently discount Lashley and Logan Paul. Yes. But then the others, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Owens is a dark horse because he's kind of floating out there. You would think that it would have to be a heel, though, just because you have the traditional heel-face dynamic. WWE is not averse to babyface, but typically it's especially at WrestleMania, it's traditional heel versus babyface. So I don't think they have an interest in turning Kevin Owens heel at this point. But I mean, Kevin Owens is very possible. LA Knight is still very possible. So yeah, I think you're right. It comes down to 4 because Lashley, no chance. Logan Paul, already U.S. champion. He'll put on a hell of a show in the chamber and probably end up coming out with a broken bone or two. I mean, he's going to kill himself in there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so him and Owens, because Owens does mad stuff, doesn't he? I mean, he jumps off tops of stands and stuff. So him and Owens should be amazing.
I can't wait for it. I mean, I can't wait to see the dynamic between also Orton and Logan Paul. We haven't seen that much yet. So there's some combinations here of guys that we haven't seen. This is one of the most stacked Elimination Chambers that I can remember in quite some time. And also, like you mentioned, while I thought Drew was the favorite, as I look at the actual advertisement and look at the men, you can discount 2. These 4, there's a case to be made for every single one of them. But when push comes to shove, I still think Drew is probably the guy. If I had to pick at this moment, Drew is probably the guy based on how much television time he's getting, based on the reaction he's getting from fans, the general feeling, I think, of his successful heel turn. He's probably the guy, but how can you overlook like a guy like Randy Orton, for God's sakes,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is what's great. This is what's great about this chamber match in Perth. I don't know if I've ever seen a PLE or any event in Perth, Australia. I mean, I know they've done some in Sydney before. I can't recall them doing any events in Perth, which, from what I understand, is the very much western part of Australia, not near Sydney. So I don't know if they've ever done an event there.
I don't think so. Not that I know of, unless they've... Yeah. But I mean, Australia is ginormous. So, and I think it's quite sparsely populated. So I haven't been there. But I think it's really big. So I think it's not like a case of, when they come to the UK, they can do London, Manchester, Edinburgh all in sort of a week. I don't think that kind of schedule would be possible over there. So, yeah, no, it's going to be fun. That crowd's going to be absolutely off the chart.
Oh, I can't wait. Like I said, it makes the United States crowds, we're embarrassing compared to really, every single time they go overseas, it is like United States on steroids. It's the dream crowd that every wrestler wishes they were performing in front of. So, yeah. I mean, it's got to be such an adrenaline rush for the men and women. So I'm excited for them. But, well, one more question, and then I know we've got about 10 minutes or so, but and then I'll let the floor be yours for items that we didn't talk about. And there's a lot we didn't talk about. But Imperium, Gunther, they faced the New Day this week on Raw, and they ended up losing to the New Day. So Imperium lost. But right now, I mean, how are you enjoying Gunther's run? Do you think that Jey Uso, obviously who's next in line, and I believe it's taking place next week, the Intercontinental Championship match, is there any chance Jey is the one to finally dethrone Gunther, or do you think the reign continues? And how are you enjoying Gunther and his run overall?
I've loved Gunther. I think he's a proper traditional, old school slap 'em kind of guy. I think he's been brilliant. I think Jay's got a chance. I think Gunther's ready to drop the belt so he can move up the card. And I think it would be an absolutely perfect moment for Jay to get the belt and carry on the good work. Because I think Gunther's done amazing things to elevate that belt, because before we were all a bit like, we've not, well, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I've not really cared much about that belt for, however long, until Gunther got it, and he's given it credibility. But I think Jay will do the same, because I think it will be his first singles title. So I think there's a chance.
That is, and to me, it is the biggest chance that anyone has had facing Gunther thus far. Chad Gable had some awesome matches with him, but you're looking at this going, it's going to be one of an amazing wrestling match. It's going to be a clinic. That you're looking at this, it's going to be a pure wrestling match, and they're always awesome to watch. But at the end of the day, Gunther's winning. This is probably one of the first times that Gunther is truly challenged outside of last year with Drew McIntyre. I know that, he faced him last year and there were some moments. This is another one of those big moments. And Jey Uso, who is a legitimate star now, has a real chance of dethroning Gunther. Now, the only argument against it right now is that if you dethrone Gunther before WrestleMania, what does he do before then? I mean, he could ask for a rematch at WrestleMania, but I think it'd be a bigger moment if Gunther dropped it at WrestleMania, because if you don't, Gunther's not in the chamber match. So he's not going to be competing for the World Heavyweight Championship, at least not yet. So he can't be competing for that. He's going to be going in not as champion, as Intercontinental Champion. So if you don't bring him in as Intercontinental Champion, what is Gunther doing at WrestleMania? So I think that they'll wait for that moment until at WrestleMania 40 to actually have him drop the belt against Jey Uso, who I think is a perfect contender. There's others, but I think Jey Uso is the perfect guy to do it. I don't think anyone would be angry at it. He's already had a hell of a run, a historic run. So that's the only way I'm looking at this, as a book to WrestleMania. You gotta, I think, get Gunther to WrestleMania as champion, and then have him probably drop the Intercontinental belt at that point.
Yeah, so I guess Jay has a rematch clause or something, and yeah, that does make sense, actually. That makes sense. We can go with that.
All right. Well, I mean, we do have some time left. I know that, there's some other stuff we didn't talk about at all. I mean, we didn't talk about, Bronson Reed and his qualifying match, which I don't know how much of a conversation that would be. Cody Rhodes' promo in response to the Cody Crybabies. I mean, other women's matches that are going on, the women's tag team division that we always are have on our concern list. But I'll leave the floor to you.
Yeah, I guess there's probably a couple of things from me. I guess the Cody promo is probably worth, just touching on. I'm kind of indifferent to Cody. I don't feel anywhere near as strongly as you do about him, but I'm not, he wouldn't be on my Christmas card list, but I don't hate this. I thought his promo was good. I liked the way he poked fun a little bit at the Rock. It's nice to hit back a little bit. And then when Seth came out, I thought that was really nice. I thought I liked that. I thought it was a good bit of storytelling, because, they showed a few clips of the Shield and the three of them together and how it all started. And it was quite nice how it's all it was a bit of proper storytelling, I think, which was quite nice to see. Oh, the only thing that frustrates me, like I think probably every other wrestling fan in the universe, is why he won't answer the question that everyone wants to know, which is why he said not at WrestleMania. Yes. And then he's never, and he says, it's because of you guys, but it's just, we're never going to get an answer. So that's kind of, I'm not going to die on that hill, but it's kind of frustrating, but I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying not to go into a whole spiel. I won't. I promise. But no, I mean, objectively, you look at that and you're like, well, no matter who this is, I mean, it's kind of a big gap you're leaving of WrestleMania main event. It's as big as it gets in the WWE. That's it. That's the end game. And you're not going to tell us why you decided to give it up to The Rock and then all of a sudden came back to it. And again, he's saying, well, it's for us. It's because of you. Well, what do you mean it's because of us? The fans were supporting you all along. It's not as if all of a sudden the last week the fans have decided they're going to cheer for Cody. It's been 2 years now. The fans have been supporting Cody. And then all of a sudden, hey, yeah, it's because of you guys. And I think that's just a gloss over, lazy, creative reason. I'm not blaming Cody. I'm blaming creative on this because I don't think they want to get into it. Honestly, I mean, they could have come up with something very simple. It doesn't have to be this whole complex reason. He could have just said something simple that makes more sense than, oh, it's you guys, which is nonsense. So, like, you need us to make common sense choices, Cody? You need us to, enforce your Royal Rumble win? I mean, are you an idiot? So it's just certain things that just don't make sense. But yeah, so beyond that, though, yeah, he hit back at The Rock pretty good. Saying that he doesn't want to cry because he doesn't want to tear up because he'll become a crybaby, and trying to turn it on The Rock, and saying that he is going to hit him back at some point. So that match, they teased it. The visual was there of Cody and Seth versus Rock and Roman. That tag team match, I don't know when that's going to happen. I know that on Elimination Chamber, the Grayson Waller effect is going to have Seth and Cody on it. You would think that Rock and or Roman are going to be there and interfere and attack them, but we're not getting that tag team match yet. I don't know if we ever will, but it seemed like they were headed that way at some point, especially with Rollins saying, "I can be your shield." So,
and so we're not going to get Rock and Roman this year. We know that, but surely Rock is going to do something at WrestleMania. So what's the match? Is there a match, or is it going to be like what they did with Steve Austin, where he went on the KO show? It wasn't really a match, but it was kind of a match. Is it that kind of thing, or because that would be a waste to have The Rock just hanging around.
That's the weird spot. Like, okay, like you said, we know, okay, cool. You and I and probably everyone has kind of come to terms with the fact Rock Roman's next year. Great. We're all on board. But yeah, who does The Rock? The Rock said he's wrestling this year at WrestleMania. But like, who? I don't know what story you're fitting in. I don't want a triple threat. Cody fans don't want a triple threat. I actually think that would be a really bad move. Really bad after all of the mentions of, nope, it's for sure Cody and Roman. This is it. It's not changing. And then all of a sudden they change it to inject The Rock. That'd be a really, really bad move. So you're not going to have a triple threat. I honestly have no idea who The Rock's going to face at WrestleMania, or if he's just going to inject himself into the finish of Cody and Roman. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's They couldn't make it a triple threat because it wouldn't be, would it? It would be a handicap match because we already know that Rock and Roman are allegedly aligned. So it doesn't make any sense. You couldn't, and then for the title, not for the title. No, you can't. They can't do that.
And you can't have Rock and Roman in the same ring as opponents when it's not one-on-one the first time. If they want to do this, after they've already had their one-on-one, fine. But you can't have that moment be in a triple threat. It muddies the water so much for so many different reasons. I think it would anger Rock fans. It certainly would anger Cody fans. It really would serve nobody to put Rock in that match. I understand on paper, a simple solution, put them all in one match. It doesn't work like that though. So, but I know you mentioned we got a couple minutes. Was there something else that you wanted to discuss?
Only that it's on the same sort of similar topic, and I wanted to pose a question to you guys, really, and to anyone else who is listening. But I think if this is true, and this isn't a work, and I don't think it is, I think WWE did think, oh, we've dropped the ball here. We need to change our storyline. Then, do we think that's a dangerous precedent? Because now are they sending the message out to the WWE universe that if you create enough fuss, enough noise online and etc., with hashtags and stuff, we will change our stories? I mean, they've not done that before that I can really remember, especially with Vince. He was like, F the fans, I'll do what I want. So are we now almost in a position where the fans could affect storylines going forward?
Well, I think they would say that the fans directly affect them all the time, and they do that for the fan reaction. I mean, they would say is that they, that's how they direct their story. That's how they come up with their stories is to, for what the fans support and what they don't like. So, just how it's built to begin with is apparently around fan reaction. That's what they tell us. And that makes sense. You want to serve your customer. But as far as the online precedent being set, I mean, you could look at hashtag Give Divas a Chance. That really set things into motion. It wasn't as big as this, but it set things into motion for the Divas. That changed to the women, thank God. And then, you had Kofi Kingston. That was a small movement online that really manifested itself more in person. And you had Daniel Bryan, most famously at WrestleMania 30, the Yes Movement. That really, I don't remember it being a big thing on Twitter, but absolutely in person, the fans were just super loud about Daniel Bryan being in the main event and screw Batista. I mean, that was essentially the message. Yeah. So, with the Cody thing, and I've been, a big proponent of WWE not just adhering to the whims and going with the whims of the fans and going, it seems like that's what they want. Let's just give it to them. That's a dangerous thing to do, but I think that they need to listen when things feel like it's real. Like it's not just somebody trying to start a trend. To me, I would look at longevity of the trend. How long is it going on? And does it translate into in person? Right? Like if I go to an event and all this hashtag stuff happens, but I go to an event and it's the opposite reaction or no reaction to what's happening online, to me, that would be a big indicator that maybe this thing isn't real. So there would be some tests that I would conduct if I were the company to not just go with every little whim every trend you see on Twitter or wherever, so that's how I would kind of gauge it. And there'll be more movements though. You can bet your bottom dollar that this is going to create further movements. And it's also a sign of the times that we're in, Oh
yeah, definitely. Like hashtag where the hell is Nikki Cross? That's one for a start. Where is she?
Probably off staring at a corner, right? She's just staring. Yeah. So that's probably where I think I answered it. Oh gosh. But no, all right. Well, I mean, we'll end it there. I think that right now, as far as WWE goes, the product is still as hot as I've seen it in 15 years. It's an awesome time to be a fan, as I've said over the last several months now. Triple H being in charge has changed some things for the better. Obviously, he'll have some stumbles along the way, but right now, heading into WrestleMania season, I'd have to give him a pretty good grade. And after WrestleMania, that grade may change, but I guess before we wrap it up, Amanda, did you have any final comments, thoughts, suggestions?
No, just same as you, really. I think at the moment, this is probably the most excited I've been in quite a few years going into WrestleMania season. Triple H is doing amazing, and I'm a little bit bummed because I'm actually out of the country WrestleMania 2 nights, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to try and watch it because I'll be on holiday. But super excited, and I'd give him a solid B+. I think at the moment, it's great stuff.
Yeah, I'd agree. If I had to assign it, it would be A minus B+. Let's give him a B+. I think that's fair. So, all right. Thanks so much, Amanda. This has been a blast. And the next time we talk, there'll be Elimination Chamber behind us. We'll be, WrestleMania in front of us. We'll have even more to discuss and have fun with. So thanks so much for joining us. I know you're staying up late, and I appreciate it, and I know the listeners do too. So you enjoy the rest of your
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.